Hi, this is a video response to KitKat06 when she made a video response to someone else, and I don't remember who, I'm sorry, on how people react when you tell them about your path. So, my spiritual path and occult path is that I am a chaos magician with a strong focus on eclectic paganism, though I would call myself Wiccan-ish because a lot of that paganism has been taken from Wicca. Now, when I tell people that I am pagan, I generally get the same response as Kit Kat does with, "Oh, you're Wiccan," or "I've known someone who is Wiccan," and so on. And for the most part, the responses to me telling them that I am pagan is very positive. I get some stares when I say that I am a chaot, because not many people know what that is. But generally, actually, it's more other occultists that have a problem with me being a chaot than mundanes. Now, what people react to when it comes to me being a chaot is that the prime principle of chaos magic is nothing is true. And that's not just a saying, that is what we believe. What we actually believe. Nothing is true. So, among other things, we have a tendency to take our magical knowledge from all over the place. So, for example, I use a lot of fictional sources that I have included in my practice. I have taken inspiration from the role-playing game Mage Ascension, though it has taken a lot of inspiration from real occultism, so it might not count. I've taken it from the fantasy series Wheel of Time, from the fantasy series Sword of Truth, from several other fantasy series. I have taken inspiration from Star Wars. I have taken inspiration from the computer game Bayonetta with hair magic. I use my old action figures from when I was a kid as protection charms, and so on and so forth. And actually, one of my first lessons when I had a teacher was to make my own system of gods, my own pantheon. And people react to this, they say, but this is fiction. How can you mix in fiction? And I said, to me, fiction is no more real than the world you see around you. And of course, it's not like I'm insane. It's not like I think that I'm gonna look out the door and I'm gonna see giant aliens and robots and so on wandering about, because that's not the paradigm that the world generally works on. But that doesn't mean that they in essence is less real. And people react to that, and a lot of occultists, I think, is afraid of not being taken seriously. So some feel the need to distance themselves from chaos, because we have a very strange way of viewing the world. And I guess that for some people, if you're very concerned with how people view you, to see someone else who calls themselves an occultist suddenly erecting a shrine to Mickey Mouse and praying to him as if he were a god, that might make you afraid that people won't take you seriously. But to us who are chaos, that makes perfect sense. Another thing that people react to is when I say, but what do you think is the truth? Is the Christian right? Is the Wiccans right? Is, well, the Hellenists right? And I say, none of them. All of them. Nothing is true, everything is permitted. If you believe that the Greek pantheon is real, then it is real. If you believe that Jahwe is the only true God, he is the only true God. And I know that this can be a bit hard to wrap your head around, and I think that's something that also affects people. But like there is this old, well, it's not old, it's pretty new actually, but it is this popular saying among chaos, and I'm not completely sure who first wrote it. Basically, it's a student and his apprentice. That's his talking, and the apprentice says, "Master, are there spirits?" And the master says, "Yes, in the spirit model." And then the models of magic is basically you can separate magic into 5 different models. But I might do a video on that, so I'm not going to go into details about that. But yeah, let me continue. And then the student says, "Okay, but what about the energy model?" And the teacher says, "Well, in the energy model there are various forms of energies, there are life force, there are universal energies, and it can be used to do magic." "Okay," the student says, "but master, what about the mental model?" And the master says, "Well, the mental model is about doing magic using your own mind and the power of your subconscious." "Okay," says the student, "but master, what about the information model?" And the master says, "Well, that deals with information, reprogramming the world, memes, and so on." "Yes," the student says, a bit frustrated, "but master, are there spirits, yes or no?" "Yes," the master says, "there are spirits in the spirit model." So yeah, this is a very poor explanation about chaos magic, but basically it's about as open as it gets, because in our worldview everything is true. Absolutely everything. Mickey Mouse is a god and he rules the cosmos. True. The Great Spaghetti Monster is the ultimate god. True. The Christian God is the ultimate God. True. There are nothing supernatural. True. There are vampires. True. This cup full of water is in reality a big universe with several galaxies and millions of inhabited planets. True. And now we have swallowed a few billion of them. Anyway, and I can sort of understand why people think this is strange, but what sometimes amuses me is that people who do not claim to be pagan, who are not occultists, basically mundanes, they are usually more open to the concept of chaos magic than a lot of occultists are. So yeah, I sometimes get a bit of strange looks when I talk about chaos magic. But other than that, most part when I talk about my past, I get positive. Feedback. So yeah, I began practicing when I was very young. I was 10 years old when I began practicing folk magic, and I've always been very open about it. So when I was very little, some of my classmates made fun of me, but for the most part, they thought it was interesting and asked questions, or they just ignored it. And I grew up with a single mother, but my grandparents lived just 5 minutes walk away, so I basically grew up just as much with them as with her, and we were sort of like one big family, or little family actually, and all of my family have always been very supportive. My mother is a theist, and she also does nature therapy, and she accepted my beliefs immediately. My grandfather never spoke about his religious views, but he was a die-hard communist, so I have a suspicion he was an atheist. He was also psychic, and he supported me. We never talked about it. My grandmother was a bit curious, and she asked questions, and she encouraged me. I don't know if she believed me or not, but she encouraged me to do what made me happy. So I've always been extremely lucky with my family. My father, I'm not close with him. I only got him back into my life when I was 15, and we talk a few times a year, that's all. He is an atheist, and while he seldom says something directly negative, he thinks the whole believing in something supernatural is stupid. So yeah, he's a bit more open to psychic powers, but yeah, it's a topic we do not agree on, but he's not overly negative. He doesn't believe in it, he believes it is foolish, but he isn't like berating me about it. So yeah, I've been lucky with my family. With my friends, I think all of them accept it, and none of them have said anything negative. A few is interested and have asked to borrow books. The rest just accept that as part of who I am. Some, I guess, believe me, some don't, but all are positive. And as for other people in my life, my doctor is what's with the lighting in here? Please forgive me, that is, the lighting goes lighter and darker and lighter and darker. I'm not really sure why it does that. I will try to figure it out until the next video. Anyway, my doctor is a Baptist. I think he's a Baptist. He's a Christian. And he has asked me if what I do is evil. He has asked me, because I'm a goth, if I have anxieties, if my practice and so on can be affected by my occult practice, by the skulls and various symbols I wear, and by the horror, science fiction and fantasy things I watch and read. However, when I've taken the time to explain to him what it's all about, he has never said anything negative. My psychiatrist immediately asked if she could read my dream journals, and if there were ways we could use my occult practice in the therapy. So she's been very positive, and every other person I have had, every shrink I've had has been very positive. And my hubby, he is a Christian mystic, so he supports me 100%. So I would say that for the most part, everyone who is close to me is very supportive, and I generally either get questions because they're interested, or it's just not, they just ignore it. It's just one of the things that Anya does. And yeah, I also have two other people in my life. It is but it's a bit hard to explain to you who are an American exactly their job, but you can say they are within this psychiatry. They are psychiatric support personnel. That if you have, in Norway, if you have a psychiatric problem, and not in all countries, but in many of them, you will then get one or two people who will help you, that sometimes you have a problem getting, when you have depressions, getting the necessary things that needs to be done in your life done, and they sort of are your assistants in that. So if you need help getting to the store, they will drive you, or if you need someone to talk to, you can call them, and so on. Yeah, you get my point. And I have two of those that I have that works with me an hour a week, and they are also extremely positive. So yeah, the only people I have really gotten anything negative from when it comes to my past are some people I met on the internet, but who hasn't met trolls. I mean, I've seen people say they like one color over another, and suddenly someone calls them all sorts of names because they are so wrong. So yeah, and I've also met some atheists who are extremely negative. And like I've said before, I am trying my damnedest best not to be prejudiced against atheists, but I mean, forget Christians. I've had some negativity from Christians too, but hell, it doesn't even compare to the negativity I have at times gotten from atheists. So, a few people who are atheists have said very mean things about me because I am a religious person. I don't think it matters that I'm pagan, but that I am religious and that I believe in the supernatural. Other than that, I've been extremely lucky. I have not experienced any prejudice, and most people I meet are either, most of them are actually curious and wonder why I do what I do. So yeah, I would say that I am very open. I've never had the need to hide who I am. I will openly say a pagan grace for my food before I eat, even if I'm in public, though I won't scream it out, I will mutter under my breath. I will wear pagan symbols whenever I feel like it, and I've never really had a bad experience. So I'm thanking the god and the goddess for that. I know some people have met a lot of negativity, but I thankfully haven't. So yeah, this was a bit of a rambling video, but yeah, I answered as best as I could. So have a great day, and blessed be.